It is time now to take a look at the week ahead in finance, and as he does every Sunday night, joining us our late news finance expert, Scott Phillips, Chief Investment Officer from Motley. Scott, Happy New Year to you. Nice to see you.
Peter, and you too. Thank you very much, mate.
Scott, Facebook, or should we say Meta, took a battering last week while Amazon and Google surged. What can we expect to see with US tech stocks, do you think, this week?
Peter, that's a great question, because last year was a heck of a ride, wasn't it? Facebook losing $300 billion of market capitalisation, market value in a single session. That was one whole McDonald's, to put that in context, which is phenomenal. Amazon and Alphabet, or Google, on the other hand, went up on their news. This week, we've got Uber and Twitter. And I've got to say, on the back of the social network stuff with Facebook, Twitter will be in focus. And Uber, of course, always fascinating. They have lost so much money over their corporate history, but still plough more money in and continue to grow. That'll be fascinating to watch. I'm expecting some good news from both, but the pandemic impact and also the changes that Apple have made that really hurt Facebook will be fascinating. On the same token, we've also got Coke and Pepsi reporting this week. So from the very, very exciting to the staid and boring, it'll be fascinating to look into US earnings this week.
And will there be an impact on Australian tech stocks?
I think we probably will see some. Yeah, there has been a real drag on tech stocks over the last 3 or 4 months, right over the Christmas New Year period, particularly because the hot air's really gone out of tech in the US. Interest rates, inflation's part of that, and just some concern about how long it will take some of these companies to make some money is really weighing on sentiment. We've seen Australian tech stocks and even the old Afterpay, which is now, of course, owned by Block, really struggle. This week will be a big one, I think, as they try and digest that news. OK, we're expecting some interesting figures this week, business confidence and consumer confidence. Yeah, you know they're my two favourite numbers, Peter, because they're forward-looking numbers. They really talk about what people are planning to do. When we look back and look at last month's unemployment or GDP, we kind of ask ourselves, what did we do? This time, confidence is, what are we going to do? What are we thinking about moving forward? And it's fascinating because at the moment, the Boffins are expecting a decline in business confidence, but a gain in consumer confidence. They don't tend to work in opposite directions too often. This week, we'll see firstly, whether that's right, whether those forecasts are going to come true. But it also really puts at the nub of things, trying to get business back and get their mojo back, because if they can start spending, hiring, all that kind of stuff, that helps consumers and vice versa. If consumers do go ahead and spend, that's great news for business as well.
I think everyone knows the name Philip Lowe. He's the RBA governor, and we all know about interest rates because they're front and centre at the moment. The governor, Mr Lowe, gives a statement to the House of Reps Economic Committee this week. What can we expect, do you think, from him?
Yeah, he does this Friday. Look, the front and centre will be the questions about inflation and interest rates, as you rightly pointed out. The real concern, we've got the US Fed likely to hike rates in March. The Kiwi central bank's already hike rates this month. And so you kind of look around and say, well, everyone else is doing something. Our central bank thinks at the moment we can hold pat. So I expect a statement reflecting the concerns or the views on that from the governor, and also potentially some questions, maybe some pointed ones from the politicians, particularly with an election only a couple of months away.
And before we say goodbye, what can we expect when our markets open tomorrow?
You know, I like to finish with good news when I've got it, Peter, and this week I'm pretty happy because it looks like the ASX futures will gain just over 0.5% when the market opens tomorrow. Good Lord willing, the creeks don't rise. We might start the week in the green.
Scott Phillips from Motley, always terrific to have you on the late news. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Peter.